the most difficult grounds to go to in the Premier League, and St James's Park as they face Newcastle. So let's hear from Mikel Arteta, but first, Eddie Howe.
I've really enjoyed this season in a strange way, because it's not enjoyable as you're living the moments necessarily. But when you look back, I know I'll look at this season and go, wow, what an incredible experience that was. And I want the players to feel the same thing, because, as you say, and I said earlier, I don't want to burden them with expectation or pressure, or that's not the right way to go about our experience at the moment. It's about enjoying what we're doing, meeting the challenges that we face with no fear, and committing to what we're doing, and hopefully we'll have a successful end.
Afternoon. Shall we start with a little bit of team news? Gabriel, first of all, came off a little bit uncomfortable, you said, during the week. Has he trained this week? Is he right to go again on Sunday?
We will have to see tomorrow how he is. But he could not finish the game, so that was obviously a big sign for us, and we'll have to see how he is tomorrow.
And Saliba, any update, any progress?
Not a lot of progress. He's feeling better every single day, but he's not been able still to have any activity around the first team, so we don't expect him to be with us.
And with Saliba, does there come a point where you just stick your hands up and say, okay, that's it for the season, let's just get him better and ready to start next season, because you've only got 4 games?
We are not there yet today, because we're always hopeful and players always pushing to play, but if that's the case at some stage, we will announce that, but hopefully that won't be the case.
With him, is it just more rest that he needs, or is there something else that needs to be done to kind of fix him?
It's about the healing process, pain-wise, and things that he can do now off the pitch. I think he's in a good place, but obviously we have to build that capacity again to have the right impact, the right load, and be in good condition to train and play for the team.
And is there anybody else that's a doubt for Sunday?
No, hopefully not.
And reflecting on earlier this week, you can tell us things are good, you can feed into the players, but going out and actually delivering, how important was that to you this week, bearing in mind what's ahead?
Yeah, we showed a great response during the week, but as you said, the most important thing was after to put it on the pitch, and we did it right from the beginning. We showed real determination and desire to win the game, to put up a big performance. It was a big game for us, with the London derby, and we did that, and we earned the right to win the game.
And you talked afterwards about just still needing to find this ruthless streak. How do you go about doing that as a group?
Well, finding moments where are crucial in games to kill them, finding better ways to finalize games, and we had a few, especially with the games that we have drawn.
Okay, Ian from TalkSport.
Hi, Mikel. Do you think some of the injuries you're suffering might be because of the unusual season we've had with the World Cup in the middle, the fact that it's gone on a bit longer?
The ones that we had, the ones that they've been, probably except of Saliba, but it was a really nasty impact that he had. They've been more traumatic than anything else. So we wouldn't put that down to the World Cup or the amount of stress or games that they have to play. I wouldn't say it's that.
Going to Newcastle, how much this weekend do you have to put out of your players' minds what happened last season up there?
Very different game. A year ago, different players, different game. We're going to have to play much better than we did last year, that's for sure. And we know that it's going to be a really tough game, because especially at home they've been really, really good.
They have, and they made life difficult for you at the Emirates as well. I mean, was that one of your, apart from City, one of your toughest games this season?
Yeah, we had a few, certainly. That was a game, I think it was a game that we deserved to win. We did it at the end, and they are a really good side. They are well coached, they have good players, the right environment around the club right now, so they're in a good place.
I wanted to lastly ask you about, we saw Sam Allardyce come into football this week. We've seen Roy Hodgson and Neil Warnock as well come back into football management, but you're the youngest manager in the Premier League. Eddie Howe, I think, is just above you in terms of, well, was the youngest manager in the Premier League. How much are you and Eddie role models for young coaches, players that have just sort of finished the game and learnt the coaching, coming into football and being successful?
I don't know. I have learned from a lot of coaches. Certainly, I have learned things from Sam because I played against him, especially when I was a player, and he has a really unique and very, very effective way of playing and getting results with his teams. And it's good, especially for foreign coaches, young coaches, when you come into a league and you have coaches that. That's in a way, I think they have kept the essence of the English football in many ways, and I think Sam play a big part on that.
Well, quite simply, there are 4 matches left to go for Arsenal. Jermaine, is this the biggest test they have remaining in those last 4?
Yeah, absolutely is. Look, they're up against Newcastle, who, for me, have been the team of the season this year. They've been amazing. Against all odds, they've blown some of the bigger teams out of the water. They've looked so comfortable at St James's Park. Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson battling it out for the number 9 position. And then whenever the game's not quite going Newcastle's way, Eddie Howe brings both of them on. They play side by side, or Isak plays off the left, and he's even better off the left. I think they have been amazing. But it's not just Isak and Wilson that have impressed me. It's been the whole team right through the core. So you look at the goalkeeper, Nick Pope, you look at the centre-halves, the full-backs and the midfield players. Every single one of them have done more than what you would expect them to have been able to do at this point in under Eddie Howe's tenure.
Yeah.
It's been amazing to watch from a neutral's perspective.
It sounds like you don't think Arsenal are going to get a result. And Andy, you live in the Newcastle area, so you know what St James's Park is like on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
How much are the fans enjoying what they're seeing under Eddie Howe this season?
So much. I mean, mainly they're enjoying Mike Ashley not being the owner anymore. But I think when you look at how far they've come since then, clearly the club's being looked after now. It's not been neglected in the way it was before at every level. But I think as well, that man Eddie Howe, you just have to give him such an amount of credit, because you were talking about them doing more than you thought they were capable of. I agree with that. If you look at the squad on paper, it looks weaker than any in the top 8.
Yeah.
But the reality is, Howe is such a good coach that he is authentically coaching those players to be better. We have seen form from Joe Willock, for example, over the last 2 months. I don't think he was capable of anything near that. He's looked like Zidane on some occasions. He's looked so good. And you can say that for all of those players. You know, people in Dortmund at the moment are looking at Alexander Isak and they're thinking, is this the guy who couldn't get in our team? You know, I know that was a few years ago now and he's developed since, but all of those players, you're seeing Callum Wilson playing better than he's ever played before. So many of them are all coming on. And Mikel Arteta, I would take one slight issue with what he said there, where he said, obviously they want a different game to us and we should have won the game at the Emirates. If you think that this game is going to be anything like the game that's at the Emirates, you've got another thing coming, because this, with the crowd behind them, Newcastle are going to go for it. They're going to have a go. I think there's goals in this.
I completely agree. And I don't think Arsenal are going to crumble, for the record. But it's going to be a really difficult game, because Arsenal are a fantastic side in themselves. They've been through a difficult phase. And a lot of people are saying they've crumbled, they're falling off the wagon, etc. But they've lost the same amount of games as City. They've drawn, I think it's 2 games more. So in terms of where they are now and where they track, and by finishing in the Champions League spots as well, they're going to be able to reach out to a completely different pool of players, which is going to help strengthen their squad even more so, and then challenge next season for the title.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Champions League, because it was in this very fixture last season where it all fell away for Arsenal, didn't it, Andy? And this is when their Champions League hopes died last season against Newcastle. So will that still be in the back of the minds of some of the players, that this is where the title hopes end?
I don't think it will be, because I was at this game and I thought the striking thing about this, firstly, the mood around Newcastle, I think they took that into this season thinking, actually, we can do it against the best teams. So that was a huge boost for them. It was a landmark performance and the atmosphere was incredible. But I think Arsenal will look back at that and think, OK, well, we fell off there, but how many people genuinely thought Arsenal would make top 4, let alone challenge for the Champions League? And they've responded to that. They've responded to the critics. So they can go back there and make the play. I think they can feel confident.
Would it be playing on the players' minds in the dressing room, though, knowing what happened last year?
there will be a couple of players that will be thinking about it, I'll be honest with you, but they won't let it get to them. They'll use it as motivation more so than anything. I've been in change rooms where we've played against teams that we've lost the last season or earlier on that season, and you say to yourself, right, well, where did I make the mistake last time? What did we do wrong last time that we're going to rectify this time? How do we get around this obstacle? And you'll use that. That's what they will do. They'll figure out the moments in the game where it didn't quite work for them, and they'll rectify those moments. They won't make the same mistakes twice. So it'll be an amazing game, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, we all feel there's going to be goals in this one, don't we? But in terms of then, and you've already pointed out, you don't think that Man City are going to slip up anywhere. So Arsenal are going to have to hope that you're wrong with that and that they're perfect until the end of the season. That's all it's going to take, right? Well,
I hope City crumble tomorrow against Leeds. But if I'm being honest, I can't see them slipping up at all. And I think Champions League football for Arsenal next season will be amazing. It's another great step forwards to where they need to be. And it's a